This is the first opportunity we've had to speak to you all. Really excited about Josh Richardson, a player we've liked for quite a while. We really appreciate the human he is, first and foremost. Absolutely fits with us, fits in our locker room, the kind of guy that everybody really relates to in a positive way. From a playing perspective, gives us a little more size, gives us a little more lineup versatility, and has a similar shooting profile to Devonte. Devonte is a player we care a great deal about and think incredibly highly of. It was not a real easy thing to do to move on from Devonte in many ways, and at the same time, I think Devonte would tell you he's probably landed in a better situation for him in terms of opportunity. We had a really good conversation with Devonte afterwards and with his agent, and feel very confident that they enjoyed their time here, but understand they're in a better place, and it's good for him. We saw he had 31 the other night, so we were pretty pleased for him. Again, Josh is somebody that we hope gives us a little more lineup versatility and gives the coaches a little bit more of a jack-of-all-trades player, perhaps. And that's important for us as we've been navigating all of these injuries. We've learned that the versatility has been good for us. As you know, initially when Zion and B.I. were out, we navigated the loss of those guys really well. And then I think what happened was we rode the wheels off the guys we were asking to play up higher, and it was inevitable that we were going to lose a little bit and have some slippage in that. And fortunately, I think we've kind of recalibrated ourselves and got ourselves back into a good space energetically. Coach will talk to you all after from a team perspective. The one thing I do want to clarify for everybody, Zion, I know Coach had alluded to it, Tuesday may not play till after All-Star break. We've actually earlier this week confirmed that Zion did re-aggravate his hamstring injury. I think we're looking at multiple weeks past All-Star break that he'll be back. What that looks like in terms of timeline, I really can't tell you. Much as we have throughout this, we'll continue to image him, and post All-Star that will happen. It won't necessarily happen the day after All-Star, but at some point we'll get through that process once the team gets back together post All-Star from the break, and reassess where we're at and try to have a little more clarity on a timeline. But for now, we know that he won't be back anytime shortly after.
How did he re-aggravate it?
So he was actually on the court. He had progressed to the point where he was able to do contact a little bit. He had been doing one-on-one. He had progressed to 3-on-3, and it happened on the floor.
Yeah, and I know emotionally injuries have been difficult for him. Just
yeah.
how is he taking it and that side of things?
Well, I think it's fair to say not terribly well, because he was really diligent in his rehab and in the process. And unfortunately, this is an injury that has a very high incidence of recurrence. It's nothing he did wrong to bring this about. He was very diligent in the process, and it is what it is, unfortunately. It's an injury that is tricky and hard to navigate. So I think you've seen other players around the league have those same re-incidents. It's not unique. In fact, multiple All-Stars have had multiple incidents of these. So it's not an unusual injury, and it's just unfortunate he was one of those guys.
What do you feel like you guys got to do, just knowing that you're going to be a couple more weeks without him and making this push towards the postseason?
Well, I think it's a blessing for our team, and Coach can speak to this better than I can, but it's a blessing for our team that we know we can be really good. We know that we've done this before, and we understand what the next man up mentality means. This team has proven they can be very good exactly as they're constructed now. Obviously, Josh is a new piece of that, but I mean, this group as a whole has achieved quite a bit together, and they believe in one another. So I think the important thing is we're all very disappointed for Z. His teammates are disappointed for him, but we know what's at stake, and I think everybody knows what comes next.
As far as trade deadline stuff, how did you guys balance being aggressive and upgrading your roster versus not overextending yourselves?
Well, boy, it was crazy in that market, I'll tell you that. Things got wild from a pick standpoint. Look, the rest of the West got better. Much of the West got better. And the trade deadline is most often hurry up and wait. And unfortunately, in the waiting this year, another team was getting better each time. And so it was a challenge for us to stay the course and to believe in exactly what it is we're doing. We weren't really involved in anything of an epic nature, really. We believed in the group, and we wanted to continue to build in a sustainable, mindful way. You look at the landscape coming out of the West, it's a grinder, just like it was before. But I think the balance for us was really, we've got a really, really good locker room. We've got young kids we believe in at a really high level that we're very much in demand. And the idea of, for lack of a better terminology, loading the gun and going after it right now, this wasn't the time at the prices that were being paid to do anything substantial. And frankly, I don't think we could have come to an agreement on any of the pieces people wanted from us that we were willing to part with. So.
When is the right time in the life cycle of a team to really push the chips in the middle of the table?
It's hard to know. It's easier to know when the timing is not than when it is, because we're all just guessing ultimately at the end of the day. We felt very strongly that this was a team that's poised to take a step forward exactly as it's constituted. And forward is good for us in terms of where we go next. We've been a very good team, in fact, played at a very high level, even in the absence of Brandon and Zion at one point. And then I think we just sort of ran aground because you can only do that for so long. So we're confident that we'll be able to play well the rest of the year and into a playoff run. But in terms of the right time for that, I don't know that you always know exactly when, but I know you know when not to, and this was just not the right timing for us. Thanks, guys.